Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th.
Now, I want you to notice the difference. There's not going to be any outcry within the white community about snitching. There's not going to be any death threats because of the snitching of the family member. I just want to point out the clear distinction between how we do stuff in the black community and the white community. If this would have been a black person and their family would have told on them after they committed a heinous crime, we wouldn't hear the end of it. We would not hear the end of it. But I'm going to let him continue.
In which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel.
So there we have it. Essentially, this dude, for those of you who haven't been paying attention, he allegedly went up on a rooftop of the school with the rifle and assassinated Charlie Kirk. Right? That is what happened. He assassinated Charlie Kirk. I'm going to get this up out of here so that we can have a quick conversation. So he assassinated Charlie Kirk. What I want to talk about today is the elephant in the room. Okay? The elephant in the room. And, I want to start off by saying when I first saw that Charlie Kirk was shot, it made me sad. It made me sad because I don't think anyone should be killed in this country for stating their opinion. I didn't believe that was the country we were in, although, after we seen what happened with Trump and, the assassination attempt on his life, it became more and more clear to me that, we're that's just the times that we're living in. But it really made me sad. It made me sad to see people celebrating his death online. I was chilling, getting some work done when I got the news. And, I wish I would have never watched the video. I wish that I would have never watched the video because it is a horrible video. I don't think that it should be circulating online. But with all that being said, and I just wanted to say that because what I'm going to say next might seem insensitive, but we need to have the conversation, okay? We need to have the conversation. Why I want to speak to the white community, okay? Why is it that a majority of these mass shootings, a majority of these political assassinations, a majority of these tragedies seem to happen at the hands of white men? And maybe I'm just not familiar enough with white culture, or, I don't even know if it's white culture, but what is it? Because when something happens in the black community and there's a black person that does something, it seems like the whole community is held responsible. And it seems like those of us who did not commit the crime are left to answer questions for those who do commit the crimes. Whether we're talking about drug dealing, whether we're talking about black on black crime, whatever it is, it seems like we get associated with that. And so I really want to explore this idea deeper, which is that there is a culture within America that is leading, I want to say maybe radical white men to believe that they are entitled to take other people's lives if you do not agree with them, or if they don't agree with you. And Charlie Kirk was a once in a generation talent. He started a business when he was 18 years old, worked hard, did everything that we're told you need to do, and he was murdered in cold blood in front of thousands of people, millions if you count the internet, for having an opinion and speaking on that opinion. And we all know what we were thinking. We all know what we were thinking. Any rational human being, when we were thinking about who could have done this, we knew it probably wasn't someone black. It probably wasn't Hispanic. We knew, I want to say without a shadow of a doubt, that it was likely a white man that did this. We had a feeling. And the reason we have a feeling is for the same reason white people may cross the street when they see a group of black people, or black people may cross the street when they see a group of black people at nighttime walking, they don't feel safe. Or, you see somebody with dreadlocks and you think they're a criminal all of a sudden, even though maybe they're not. We all have these assumptions and these stereotypes. And, I've heard some people say that stereotypes are earned. Now, I don't necessarily know if I agree with that 100%. But what I am saying is we do see a pattern, a disturbing pattern, of white men feeling like it is acceptable and okay to go and take children's lives, to go and take political figures' lives, to just go and take people's lives in public when they do not agree with something that they said. And here's what's even more disturbing. You don't even have to meet them. Like, these people don't even necessarily meet the people they murdering. With the Trump attempted assassination, didn't know Trump, never met him. It wasn't a personal thing, right? And that's what we have to understand. With black on black crime, a lot of times it's personal, right? It's revenge, or it's like I said, it's personal. But with this, it just seems like there is this notion and this pattern that if you do not agree with someone on something, it is okay to go and take their life, even if they haven't personally done anything to you. You just don't like what they're saying. Now, here's what's different, I want to say, about the Charlie Kirk situation, right? Here's what's different. Charlie Kirk, many are saying online that he spread misinformation, he spread hate, right? Now, whether you want to classify his debates or what he's saying, his rhetoric, as misinformation, here's the thing. In a majority of the situations, he was talking to someone else. He was debating someone else that had the opportunity to dispel his misinformation, quote unquote. That's the thing. This wasn't some government-sponsored propaganda where you don't have a voice and you can't say anything back, and they just pushing information on you, and now you got to listen to it, and if you don't listen to it, your life is at stake, or anything like that. This was a situation where a dude spent his own money traveling the country, his building an organization from the ground up, and challenging people that he did not agree with. So what this tells me, what this is a sign of, is that it is no longer the American way to disagree. It's no longer the American way to disagree. We can't have civil discussions. at least publicly. It seems like we can't do that. You know, and when I say the elephant in the room, right? The elephant in the room is this. There is a deep-seated, I want to say, entitlement factor within the white psyche of some of these extremists, because I don't see many other groups of people doing this. I don't see it. And I'm sincerely asking, because I didn't grow up in white culture. I don't know how it goes. In the video, it sounded like his family was kind of more aware of his political leanings, and that he became more radicalized based on what they're saying. That's just what I'm gathering. And, you know, I don't know how you're living your life, and then you just decide that you're going to go take someone else's life because they said something you don't like. You don't know this person. You have to go out your way. You got to sneak and do all this stuff and get up on a roof. And you just, like, I'm not understanding it. Help me understand this. Help me understand this, right? Because this is not like a passion of the moment thing. He bumped into Charlie Kirk, and then Charlie Kirk says something back, and boom. It's not that. This dude bought a weapon, or whatever happened, got a weapon, acquired a weapon, went and staked out somewhere allegedly, and then boom, took somebody's life. Why does white culture keep producing this? Why? I want to understand why. Because I understand how violence typically manifests within the black community. I understand that very well. What I don't understand is, why do things like this keep happening with white men in particular? Why? And I will say this, right? This is one of those situations to where the suspect was brought in alive. Oftentimes with these situations, we don't have that closure, or, you know, like we don't get that ability to capture the person alive and then, you know, get more. A lot of the times they off themselves. And, you know, I think we should try to look at the silver lining in this is only one bullet was fired. And although that one bullet that was fired took somebody's life, and it's sad, you know, somebody like this that would do that to one person, there's no telling what they, like, if they just started doing it to other people in the crowd and stuff like that. This could have been way, way nastier, and it was definitely nasty. Definitely nasty. And so, you know, it's wild. It's wild. And the sad part is that I don't think it's going to stop. I don't think it's going to stop. And I think that, you know, there is something underlying within the psyche of white culture right now that's producing these people. And so I want to hold people accountable. I hold the black community, black culture accountable when it's like black culture is producing people that go out there and commit these black on black crimes, and it's in the music, and it's in the everyday interactions and stuff like that. So I want to know, help me understand, white community. Why is it that your culture keeps producing people that feel the need to go do mass shootings, to go and do political assassinations like this? Why? How many more people are we going to lose? And you know, how many more people are we going to lose because of this? How many more? Because understand, and I don't want to seem insensitive when I say this. When you shoot and kill somebody like a Charlie Kirk, what you're doing is actually shooting a movement. You're shooting, you know, an ideology or you know, a thought process that people are using to change their lives or live a certain way. It's not just that person. When you kill somebody that represents something bigger than themselves, it has a much larger impact. And so, you know, I truly want to understand. This is a video about understanding, not making all these assumptions, but coming from a place of true curiosity. Why? Why does it always seem like it's white men doing these things? Curiosity, not trying to be insensitive, but let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section. Make sure you tap in, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Also, you know, I think it's also important to say that those who are online celebrating the death of a man, he had a family, he was a person. That's right. That's wild. That's wild. I'm not gonna say karma or anything like that. I'll just say that's wild. That's wild. But I'll see y'all in the next video.